Look closely at the loudest laughter in the room. Not the quiet smiles, not the soft chuckles, but the kind that fills space. The kind that makes people turn their heads. The kind that feels almost magnetic. Warm, energetic, effortless. That's the laughter people trust. The laughter that says, "I'm okay." The laughter that tells the world there is nothing to worry about here. But sometimes, the loudest laughter is not joy. Sometimes it's rhythm, timing, performance. A carefully practiced language the heart learns when silence feels dangerous. Watch how easily they move, how naturally they react, how perfectly they fit into the moment. They know when to lean forward, when to clap, when to joke, when to brighten the mood. They make people comfortable. They make people feel light. And that is the role they learn to master. Because when you become the person who lifts everyone else, no one stops to ask what might be weighing you down. And then, the noise fades. The room empties. The voices disappear. The energy dissolves into silence. And suddenly, there is no audience left. No reactions to manage, no emotions to perform, no expectations to hold. Just a mirror. And mirrors don't laugh back. They don't clap. They don't reward effort. They only reflect what remains when everything else is gone. Look at the face now. Still, heavy, unprotected. The muscles that held the smile begin to relax, slowly, like something being released after holding tension for too long. The brightness in the eyes dims. The posture softens. The performance ends. And what replaces it is not dramatic sadness, not visible pain, but something quieter. Emptiness. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that simply exists, patiently, waiting to be acknowledged. Then comes the question, soft, gentle, almost casual. Are you okay? 3 small words, but for someone who has learned to hide, they feel enormous. Because that question is not just concern. It is exposure. It is the sudden feeling of being seen, not completely, not deeply, but just enough to make something inside tense. For a moment, there is hesitation, a pause measured in fractions of a second, but inside that pause lives 1,000 calculations. How much do I show? How much is safe? How much is too much? What happens if they actually see me? And so the answer forms quickly. A smile, a nod, a reassuring tone. Yes, I'm fine. Because sometimes, saying you're okay is not a lie. It's protection. Humor is one of the most beautiful defenses ever created. It disarms concern. It redirects attention. It turns vulnerability into entertainment. When people laugh, they stop looking deeper. When people laugh, they feel reassured. When people laugh, the moment passes safely. And so humor becomes armor. Not heavy armor, not obvious armor, but something light, flexible, socially acceptable, something no one questions, something people actually admire. They call you funny. They call you charming. They call you easy to be around. And they are not wrong. But what they don't see is that every joke is also a doorway being gently closed. This didn't start randomly. There was a time when hiding was not necessary. There was a time when honesty felt natural, safe, possible. A moment when the heart opened, carefully, sincerely, offering something real, not polished, not rehearsed, just truth. And the response was not cruelty. That would have been easier to understand. Instead, it was discomfort, silence, distance, subtle withdrawal, the kind that doesn't shout rejection, but quietly communicates it. And that moment teaches something powerful. Being seen is not always safe. Being honest does not always bring closeness. Sometimes, it creates space. And once you learn that lesson deeply enough, you never forget it. So emotions learn to move differently. Not outward, not visible, but inward, contained, controlled. Tears come quietly. Breathing becomes careful. Feelings are processed in hidden spaces. Bathrooms, bedrooms, late nights, empty moments between responsibilities. And when the world calls, the voice changes instantly. Steady,
light, normal. Because strength is often misunderstood. It is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to carry pain without letting it interrupt what others expect from you. And when everything finally becomes quiet, when the world stops asking, when no performance is required, one question remains. It doesn't shout. It barely speaks. But it never disappears. If they knew everything, the fears, the heaviness, the parts that don't shine, would they still stay? Or would they slowly step back? Like others once did. Like the world sometimes does, when reality becomes too heavy to hold.